Hello my darlings, here is another video towards my Christmas series, and that is 12 days of Christmas with IJ. In my first video about Christmas prep, I mentioned allotting some time to sit down with yourself and look at your year, and that's what we're going to do in this video. At the beginning of the year, I did a series called 12 days of January, which seems to be quite fitting. 12 days of Christmas, 12 days of January. Maybe that's supposed to be a special number for me, 12. Anyway, 12 days of January is a series I started in the beginning of the year, just sharing my ways in how I approach New Year energy. And I have done a media check-in, so here we are doing the end year check-in. A lot has changed, wow. If anything, I celebrate that. I mean, I should be a very different IJ from that IJ in January. I really do feel like I am different. In a good way, you know, change is good for us. Change is good for us. So in today's video, we are going to tackle the first 6 prompts. If you watch this video and the idea of 12 days of January really sounds good to you, I will make sure to leave a link down below in the description box. You can do a little bit of your own investigation. At the end of the day, we have a new year round the corner. So we're going to do the first 6 prompts as I do my morning skincare, a nice chatty skincare routine video. I really do enjoy doing these, you know. They're kind of like an homage to the chatty get ready with me beauty routines of YouTube, where people do their makeup and have a chat. Well, here we do skincare and have a chat. But before we get into the chat, I want to let you know what I have done with my face. I'm doing a classic IJ routine where I mask my skin in the morning. When it comes to such routines, I don't particularly use a cleanser, but I'm going to explain myself. I first refresh my skin with a bit of toner, and this morning I used the Nankin Skincare Purifying Face Toner. This is one of my favorite, got to be top 5 toners. It's always a delight when I bring this back into my routine. It is so nice. I've done an in-depth review of this as well. I will make sure to link it down below. So I'll just take the toner, be generous on a cotton pad, and really give my face a good swipe, and then I will put on a face mask, which is already on my face right now. And currently I'm using something that is really surprising. I did not expect to like this. This is really nice. This might come up in my December skincare highlights. Let's see. Anyway, I am using the SkinFood Rice Mask Wash Off. This is really nice. It's been the perfect morning mask for me for quite some time, at least maybe 4 or 5 weeks. I've been really enjoying this in the morning. That's what's on my skin right now, and as that sits on my skin, let's do at least number 1 and number 2. First on the list is declutter. I consider myself the queen of decluttering. I love a good declutter. I don't like to hold on to things that I don't need. And this is not a prompt that I've struggled with. I'm always letting go of stuff. I'm always keeping on top of things in the physical world. But I feel like this has really taken a different route for me as the year has ended, and I think I'm going to explain myself later as we go through the prompts. But I'm currently in therapy, knee deep in therapy. And of course, one of the things that comes with therapy is letting go. So I feel like the word declutter has taken a new meaning for me. It's made me realize maybe I'm not so comfortable letting go of things, especially in the inner world, emotional things, mental things. And that's one of the things we have been working on, I and my therapist, is letting go of this stuff. God, it's a lot. Even when I say it, I can feel it in my shoulders. Letting go of this stuff. Letting go of patterns, you know, studying repeating patterns and really letting go of them, because we all know doing the same things over and over again and expecting different results is a type of madness. So that's definitely been top of my list. Letting go of fears. Fear is a natural thing, it's a natural instinct, it's a protective instinct, but you know, finding that nice line of where you don't move from fear, or rather I don't move from fear. That's what I'm working on. You know, decluttering the stuff around my fear so that my fear does not blind me, but more so inspires me. Decluttering the stuff around my fears allows me to see my fears for what they really are, because sometimes fears can disguise themselves as strengths, as traits, as, oh, but that's just the way I am. No. Another thing that my therapist brought up for me that has been a beautiful game changer is that recommitment is a part of grace. It is a part of practice. It is a part of letting go. That was good. That was good medicine. That was like a big hug. That was very reassuring. That just because I can't let go of something now doesn't mean that I failed. Doesn't mean that I can't heal. Doesn't mean that I won't let go of it in the future. It's just a process, and I just need to recommit myself to letting that thing go. So yeah, decluttering for me has really taken a new meaning, or rather it has, a new layer has been added to it, and I really feel like I'm going to be taking the themes of 12 days of January into 2023. I don't know why, I just feel like that's where I am. We thank the heavens. Number 2, make a money commitment. That was really easy for me. I give myself a solid B+. When it came to my money commitments, I decided to focus on my loves, and that's books, fragrances, and online courses. Those are 3 things I do spend quite a bit of money on, and I told myself this year I'm going to do better. Enough of the shenanigans. I don't want to just blindly pursue the things I love simply because I love them. You know, it's important to really sit back and ask yourself, why am I buying stuff? Because capitalism just has a way of taking over when it comes to our love stories and making us feel like if we don't buy, we are not invested in our loves. No. So books wise, I've been really good. Very few new books. Most of the books that have come into my library this year are from the charity shop, and I've been very mindful, like asking myself, do you really need that? Free bookshelves, there are quite a few in some Tesco's that I go to, and the boot sale, of course. I've been really good. Have I bought a new book proper? I don't think so. I really don't think so, even though there's one in my basket right now. When it comes to fragrances, I've also done amazing. I've not had any big hauls the whole of the year. Fragrances have really entered my life in dribs and drabs. A bottle here, 2 bottles there. I've not sat down and gone crazy, and I'm really proud of myself for that as well. I've really whittled down my collection. I'm just looking at it over there. I've whittled down my collection, and fragrance wise, I feel like I'm going to carry this into the early part of 2023. I still feel like I need to do a little bit of tidying when it comes to my collection. Online courses, I did amazing. I only bought 1, and I did keep a promise I made to myself. I told myself if I was going to do anything online, study anything online, I was going to buy a course later in the year, which I did. So yeah, I kept my commitments to myself. I'm really proud of myself. Go IJ. Go IJ. Okay, I'm going to go and take off this mask. It's a hydrating, moisturizing type of mask. It's something you could put on your skin and abandon for quite a long time. I've been really enjoying it. Actually, let me just mist my skin with some... I decided to mist my skin with the Uriage Fast Thermal Water. This is just water in a can. As I've said many times before, when I'm masking, I like to keep my skin wet. Even though this is a moisturizing and a hydrating mask, it doesn't really dry out the skin. Why not? So I'm gonna go and take this off, and then we're going to continue our little chat. That's done, and now I'm just going to go in with a bit of that toner on a cotton pad. Just make sure everything is off. Refresh the skin once again. I'm just one of those girls who believes in a toner. I believe in toner. And for the sake of being a little bit more extra, we're having a girly chat. Let's just keep doing the skincare. I am going to use a sheet mask. Now, I bought this actually to do a review of them. I'm not quite the advocate of sheet masks, but these are not bad. I've been enjoying them. They have a really decent fit on the skin. The serum that's in them also feels really nice and hydrating. And there's enough juice to take it down the neck. I appreciate that. I'll just put on my eyes because I cannot see anything and I look crazy on camera. Wow. Anyway, and these are the Mary and May Collagen Peptide Vital Glow Sheet Masks. Number 3 was a blank space, a space you were meant to fill out on your own. And how I filled mine was with the quote, "Fortune favors the bold." And I've been bold and I've been brave as much as I can possibly can. And for me, it's really been with my boundaries, and boundaries with myself, you know, not boundaries with others, boundaries with myself. Understanding what I allow myself to believe or to let in. Once again, going back to that thing that I talked about, changing patterns. Let me tell you, it's been a year. It really has been a year for me. So yeah, I've been bold enough to change my patterns, to give myself grace, to just focus on my boundaries with myself and really challenge what they look like. My therapist, once again, fabulous. She said something that just once again changed my life. What if we looked at our boundaries like plants? What if we tended to them like they were living things? Game over. Once again, I go back to that thing that I talked about, fear. Some of our boundaries, some of my boundaries were so rooted in fear, in past hurts. They had become thorny, and even I couldn't get through. Some had become obsolete because I was no longer that girl. But because I didn't tend to it, like a garden, like a living thing, you have to remove the weed. You have to remove the dead foliage. I've been brave and bold, that's all I can say. And it's true, fortune does favor the bold. You know, good things will come to those who decide to live bravely. And living bravely is not about completely obliterating fear, but understanding it and seeing it for what it is and accepting that it's a part of the process and still doing it. Do it, but do it afraid. Number 4, this is the year of, once again, another blank space that you were supposed to fill for yourself. For me, this was the year of forgiveness. Wow. Let me tell you, obviously, this is a heavy video. Rock with me. And for me, I felt that forgiveness was at the end of grief. I needed to grieve. You know, I needed to cry and let it out and go through all the stages, you know, denial, the bargaining, the deep sadness, the acceptance. And it is not a linear journey. It is up, down, left, right, and center. And the stages of grief really helped me anchor this journey, because it just kept coming up. Something kept telling me, why does this feel like grief? Why do you need to grieve it? Something just kept telling me, you need to grieve. You need to grieve those situations. You need to grieve the end of those relationships. You need to grieve for that IJ that made that choice that got us to this point. And so I looked at the stages of grief, and it just really resonated with everything I was feeling that was going to lead me, that has led me on this journey of forgiveness. Now, have I finished? Absolutely not. But I continue to move with faith, and once again, my therapist constantly reminds me, and it's not that I didn't know this, but I needed that outside confirmation and affirmation. It's not personal. A lot of the things that people do to us, and a lot of the things we do to people, is not personal. It's just our stuff rearing its ugly head. But the more we do the inner work, the better choices we can make. The more we can respond instead of react. If anything, what I want you to take from this point is, go and look into the stages of grief. Just Google it and look at all of them. There are about 7. There could be some medicine there for you. There's been a lot of medicine in there for me. Yes, I am that girl. I will take off my sheet mask and go over my neck, the back of my hands. Use every bit of it, my darlings. Use every bit of your sheet mask. I can hardly see. I've just taken off my glasses. But I feel like the skin looks hydrated. It feels hydrated. Let's carry on with some more skincare. Back to point number 1, declutter. I took out some skincare samples from my skincare stash. I'm trying to just get through them. I thought I could use them in this routine. So this is something else from Mary and May. This is the Marine Collagen 95% serum. Interesting. Very liquidy type of situation. Number 5 is BFF Yourself. That's one of my favorite extreme sports. But of course this year it has deepened, especially in my inner world, how I talk to myself. I was not raised in an environment that was full of affirming language. It was more so sharp and direct, and language that did put me down and made me doubt myself. This year I really came to recognize how loud my inner critic can be, how hurtful my inner critic can be. And that simply just mirrors what I've experienced in my life. And this year I've been like, no, baby girl, much more gentler. We are not talking to ourselves like that. Just because somebody talked to us like that doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it a thing that I will do to myself. It's a big suitcase to unpack, but I'm proud I'm at that point. I love myself immensely. The love I have for myself is so deep. And as I continue on this journey, this year just showed me how committed I am to myself and my future self. And I'm really proud of myself. That's it. I'm really proud of myself. Let's grab another skincare sample. This is the Vichy Laboratories Fortifying and Plumping Daily Booster. Right. You know, I have a love-hate relationship with skincare samples. Unless they are generous, I really don't think they do what we think they are meant to do. I mean, what is one use supposed to tell you about a product? Really? What is one use supposed to do for you? It feels super juicy on the skin, a little bit tacky. I believe this is a popular product. I can see why. Feels nice. All right. Now let's go in with moisturizer. This is the Philosophy Cica Complex Recovery Moisturizer. In fact, I remember using a sample of that already, because when I made an order with Essential, they sent me quite a few of them. Another moisturizer that's not that bad. It's all right, actually. I did find it to be quite healing. I think the Cica does stand out in that moisturizer. I'm then going to add a few drops of the Revitalizing Face Oil from Nankin into that moisturizer. I do love to add oil into my moisturizers. I'm all about juicy skin. I've just reached the end of the bottle, so I had to take the top off. Yeah, that's just right. Number 6 was support a charity. Oh my days. This is the one that kind of blew my mind and humbled me a little bit. Now, I put this in 12 days of January because I genuinely love a philanthropic work. I think we all have something to give, and it doesn't have to be about us. And I forgot that it's supposed to be not about it. And I think that's a part that I forgot and humbled me a little bit. Now, at the beginning of the year, I did get a volunteer role with Terrence Higgins Trust, which I loved, but I just didn't have space for it in my platter. I did everything I could, I just didn't have space for it on my platter. My time schedule would not allow me to give the hours that they needed from me. And when I was seated thinking back over the matter, I asked myself, IJ, why did you pursue this? Because you know, sometimes when you say you don't have time for something, I think it's important to ask yourself, okay, so why did you put it on your platter? You know? And then I realized I did it because I still have this part of me that needs to busy herself in the name of productivity, in the name of I'm not just a housewife. I still carry a little bit of shame around that, and I need not to, because being a housewife is a full-time job. I just don't get a state pension. You know, and I don't get a weekly wage. It's not billable hours, but let me tell you, it's a full-time job. But because we were raised in a time where being a housewife is almost mocked. It's not almost, it is mocked. It's seen as a waste of time, and it's seen as nothing. I still get asked, so what do you do? When I tell people I'm a housewife, so what do you do with your day? And in my head, I'm like,
you couldn't even do half of what I do. That's just the fact. You could not do it, baby girl. But don't worry. I used to be like you. I used to think like you. I forgive you.
So I had to take a step back and walk away from that role and check in with myself. As I said in the beginning of this point, I love philanthropic work. It is something that will always be a part of my life and the way I do things, and I'll always find time for it. But this year, Divine made sure that I would always question my intentions behind my philanthropic work, so that I could do it better. You know, I could move through it not only with grace but with purpose. I keep saying this on Instagram, I am so aligned. I need to say that more to myself. I am so aligned with everything that Divine has for me. We were in one of my last sessions with my therapist. We were talking about charity work, volunteer work, and she was like, okay, because she's a yogi as well. She was like, in yogi terms, we have something for that. It's called karma yoga, and what that means is yoga with action, basically philanthropic work, you know, doing selfless work that is outside the ego, that benefits others before it benefits me. And I was like, that's exactly what I was thinking. Thank you for giving me a word for it, you know, a structure for it, you know. I really appreciate that. Let me put on back my eyes because I feel like I'm struggling. Better. Oh, the skin. Ooh. Anyway, so I walked away from my role with THT and I actually found another job in the charity shops on my high street, which is really nice. The time is a little bit more flexible. I really did a check-in with myself of why I'm going there and what that time actually means to me and what it's doing for me. And I love that. I love that big lesson, that simple prompt of supporting a charity did for me. I've loved it. I've loved it. I will carry that throughout my life. Always check in with yourself, IJ. Why are you doing the work you're doing? You know, always check in. This is the Nankin Lip Treatment Balm. This is one of my favorite lip balms, an absolute staple in my routine. I've used it for 2-3 years, has not let me down, just really does a job. So those are the first 6 prompts of 12 days of January, how I did them for me, how they have unraveled in 2022 for me. I am so grateful. As I had mentioned in the beginning of the video, if you enjoyed this video, I will make sure to fill up the description box about more information about 12 days of January. You can make it your thing for 2023. As I had said also earlier in the video, I feel like a lot of these themes, I am going to be carrying them into 2023. There's a lot of gratitude in my heart right now. Let me go have some breakfast. I thank you so much for being here with me. My name is Ijoma, and I'll see you soon.